When it comes down to opioid addiction in Philadelphia, it's a little different than some other places in the country. Now, in Philadelphia itself, Hispanics actually lead in opioid deaths, and then white people. And there's always been a big homeless situation there since this addiction has been going on. They have the little tent cities of homeless people, and they're constantly getting raided by police, and all they do is move to other locations. And ladies and gentlemen, the opioid deaths in the city of Philadelphia has tripled, especially among the homeless. This story came out in the Philadelphia Inquirer December 18th, 2019. The opioid plague has tripled deaths among Philly's homeless population in the last decade. All right. It's always been really bad. If some of you remember, I believe it was the end of 2017 when the Pennsylvania governor declared a state of an emergency because they were dying at such an alarming rate in the state of Pennsylvania. And Philadelphia was exceptionally hit hard. So Philadelphia's opioid plague, the worst of any big city in the nation, is contributing to skyrocketing death rates among people experiencing homelessness. New data released Wednesday show such deaths tripled in the last 9 years, the Office of Homeless Services wrote in a news release, from 43 in 2009 to 132 in 2018. The number of deaths in the homeless population in 2019 hasn't yet been confirmed, but will likely be only slightly less than 2018, says Liz Hirsch, director of the Office of Homeless Services. And most deaths in the city's homeless population were due to overdoses, Hirsch said. That's a sea change from just a few years ago. Between 2009 and 2015, about 37% of deaths among the homeless population were from overdoses. Between 2016 and 2018, overdoses accounted for 59% of such deaths. Okay, nearly all of the fatal overdoses among homeless people in 2018 involved opioids, with the deadly synthetic opioid fentanyl present in nearly 3/4 of the deaths. And that's true. Whenever these people die of drug overdoses, it's very rare that it's one drug in their system. Usually it's about two drugs or more in their system, and in many cases also alcohol. This is what they're finding in the medical examiner's office. In general, officials said people experiencing homelessness are far more likely than others to die of overdoses. That's true. I think we knew it was bad, but seeing the numbers and such a stark relief, it took my breath away, Hirsch said. It's really been this perfect storm of an increased homelessness with the opioid plague, and people who are really suffering the most and have been hardest hit are the people who started out with the least. As the region's opioid plague has worsened, people have begun to live on the streets of Philadelphia. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you remember, it's the city of Philadelphia that wants to set up these safe injection sites. Okay. And remember, they claim having these safe injection sites will decrease the amount of deaths going on in the city. And as you can see, they already got the site set up. Nothing has changed. I mean, they're admitting that the situation with opioids have gotten worse in the city. And I believe it. I believe it. I know the homelessness has definitely gotten worse over there. In the summer of 2018, a citywide count revealed that the homeless population in Kensington, and Kensington is one of those areas that has been hard hit, very hard hit in the city, probably one of the worst in the entire city. The heart of Philadelphia's opioid plague had more than doubled. More than half the city's homeless population was concentrated in the neighborhood. In January 2019, another count showed that the city's homeless population had increased by 5% from the year before, which officials took as an encouraging sign that efforts to get people inside were working. Um, Opening low barrier shelters that don't require sobriety and making it easier to access addiction treatment and permanent housing have helped, Hirsch said. But we have to be even more aggressive, diligent, and vigilant in those efforts, she said. These are people. They're not less than anyone else. They're just people in an unfortunate situation. And it's not right to write them off. Wow. Only if they would have had that attitude during the crack epidemic. And I tell you what, Philadelphia was one of those cities that was exceptionally hard on crack addicts. I used to see a lot of the stories coming out of Philly. Philly was one of those places where they came with the battery ram, knocked the door in. Any pets in the house got killed with bullets in their heads, and everybody in the house got arrested. So if you were doing crack at your grandma's house or your aunt's house, they got arrested too. They took everybody. That's how they did the crack epidemic. Or if there were a crack house, they would raid the crack houses. And anybody that was in a crack house back then, everybody was arrested. There was no treatment. Jail was your treatment. In Philly, I used to watch the police go in those homes. It used to be on the local news back then. And they were exceptionally harsh with those crack addicts. But now you see they want to coddle and pamper the opioid addict of today. Have a whole different attitude about this. And it's only because the addicts look just like them. And that's the only reason why the attitudes have changed. Ladies and gentlemen, if the opioid addict looked just like us, they would be treating it the same as they did the crack epidemic, and we all know it. But y'all, please tell me what you think of this story that comes out of Philadelphia. I'm not surprised at all. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.